Well, hello, everyone. I'm sure that, like us, you just heard the sirens go off that indicate it is Wednesday and it is noon. So, welcome to the Chat with the Grad Dean. So excited that you're with us here today. We got a couple of guests with us. Dr. David Widdifield is here, Assistant Dean of our Academic Operations Group. And then we have our Assistant Director of our Advising Operation, Angela Howard, is with us. And then, of course, behind the scenes, making sure that we're pulling all the right levers and doing things correctly is Norma Rodriguez, who is our Senior Academic Project Manager here in the Dean's Office. But we are so thrilled that you're here today. I cannot believe that Thanksgiving is a week and a day away. As I tell students all the time, Thanksgiving is my favorite time of the year. I just love that holiday that causes us to pause and be with those that we love and be reminiscent of what we're grateful and thankful for. It seems like so many other holidays are around merchandising and buying things, and it's just really nice that we're gathered around to just eat really good food and laugh at each other and reminisce about old funny things that happened. So one of the things I want to encourage all students to do is it doesn't matter if it's family. You can make family with whomever is around. So get out, spend that holiday with people. Texas is a big place. You can go travel around if you're an international student. But take an opportunity to put a pause on your life and step back and think about what you're thankful and grateful for. If you attend any of the chats with the grad dean, you know that oftentimes I might pontificate on a particular topic that is striking my fancy at this time. And if you were here last month, you know that we talked about the 4-letter words that will derail your career success. If you haven't watched that episode of Chat with the Graduate Dean, I encourage you to do so. A few students who did watch it reached out to me and said that at least it made them think about those 5 4-letter words. So I'll just leave you hanging there, and you get to go find out what those 5 4-letter words are. But I do have a message for everybody today, and it'll be great to get my colleagues' reaction to this. You know, it's we've been through an interesting time, having gone through a pandemic and learning to be more isolated and learning to be really functional in this virtual kind of way. And one of the things that's kind of cropped into my existence is what I call my virtual pet peeve. And it's around people just not turning their cameras on in meetings or in classes. It absolutely is now driving me crazy. Because if you were attending a face-to-face class, you couldn't make your face invisible. If you were attending a meeting with your boss, you couldn't make your face invisible. And I read these articles online that talk about why people don't turn on their cameras. And I think that that's a bunch of hogwash. If you want to be in it to win it, you want to be in the moment, then you need to be present, whether you are physically present or whether you are virtually present. So I'm going to challenge all of our students who say, well, I just, I feel like it's invading my privacy to turn on my camera. Turn on your camera. Be a part of the process. Let somebody see your eyes and see your face and see your expressions. Don't worry so much about whether or not you're put together, if you're wearing a funny shirt, or if you've got 3 ponytails instead of 2. People need to be with each other. And, I've talked before in previous chats with the grad dean that I think that proximity is going to be a huge factor in growing an individual's career. And I think that young people that go out and just want to do remote work are going to miss out on the proximity advantage of being right there in the moment with your face when your boss is trying to solve a sticky problem. If they have to go and tune you in virtually and get you to turn on your camera, they've missed the moment. And when you're young and you've got all this energy and you've got all this new knowledge, that's the time that you want to be present. You want to be present in classes. You want to be present in meetings. You want to be present on your camera. What is one of the worst things that you can do if you're presenting? I hate it if I'm presenting and there's somebody in the audience that's just twiddling their fingers or looking up at the sky. Nobody likes to not be heard. So show and afford people the courtesy and the respect of being present, whether it's physical or whether it's virtual, and turn your cameras on. I was in a recording a week or so ago that I had made with a colleague, so we would have a record of how a system worked. And in that recording, I had a big lipstick blob on my tooth. And you know what? Doesn't matter to me. The information was there. We needed to hear the information. Nobody is going to think that I'm less smart because I have a speck of lipstick on my tooth. So get over this idea of needing to have this perfect persona to turn your camera on. Because mark my words, when your camera is off, humans are going to think the following things. They're going to think, wow, is that person really paying attention to me? Is that person really answering about 100 emails in their email box? Is that person like eating their lunch or having a conversation with some other person? Does that person really care and respect me enough to be present to hear what it is that I have to say? So as much as you think you might want to be invisible, being invisible hurts your brand and it hurts your reputation. Grow your reputation by growing your brand and be present where people can engage with you. So in October, you can hear about the 5 4-letter words that will derail your career and your academic journey. And today, you can hear all about how being so remiss about turning on a camera really does have a negative impact on you. So I'm kind of curious. David Widdifield, what do you think?
Yeah, and it also helps if you turn your mic on when you're getting ready to talk. No, I agree 100%. And we're not going to get away from this remote workspace. And employers that I talk with, our partners at UTD and JSOM, they say this is going to be a continued practice as we do more to a hybrid structure. But what's been interesting to note is very similar to what you just echoed, Dean Powell, is that they said their hardest thing is to get employees to engage by turning just their cameras on. And their concern is exactly what you just said as well. You know, are they paying attention? Are they there? You know, are they laying by the pool? You know, what's kind of going on? And yeah, I think that we will continue to see that more and more. And then for classes, I mean, we introduced a new modality that is going to require you to have your camera on, our remote synchronous modality. You're going to be online, but you're going to have your camera on for the professors. I myself am teaching one of those courses. So yeah, I think it's extremely important, particularly because this type of format is just not going to go away. It's going to be here, and your employers and your professors are going to be expecting you to have that camera on. Be engaged when you're having the discussion.
You know, when I was 5 years old, I started kindergarten. Maybe I was 4 years old. I started kindergarten at Wheeler Air Force Base in Hawaii. And they actually taught us, the little 4 and 5-year-olds, about what they called courteous attention. We were taught how to show courtesy to a speaker, to sit up in our chair and have really good posture, to be looking straight at them, be nodding affirmation if we liked what they were saying, to show maybe concern if we didn't understand it, so we were sending a message that they needed to explain more, the obligation of raising. We were literally taught to be good, attentive, and respectful listeners. And I think that is a courtesy that's just not afforded much anymore, and people care more about the convenience that they want than being maybe respectful. So I think that's really important. You know, David, just hearing your voice reminded me of another topic I just wanted to address with students today, and it's around academic dishonesty.
Yeah.
I want to tell students that if you are if your faculty member turns you in for an academic dishonesty issue, then that is going to go to the Office of Student Conduct, and they are going to look at the situation and decide whether you are responsible or you're not responsible. Until that is decided, you will get an NR as a grade in that class. So if you get an NR, you probably have already heard from your faculty member that there was an academic dishonesty concern and that was turned in. But to all of our students out there who think that they can shortcut a system or a process or a paper, don't do the dishonorable thing for something that might involve a handful of points. Do the right thing. And don't ever assume that your classmates are doing the right thing. You need to hold them accountable as well. So, Angela, I'm curious from your vantage point, what's happening down in the advising office?
Well, right now, Dean Powell, it's basically enrollment. Enrollment. We started registering students, or students started registering themselves on November 7th. So we are now in the middle of week 2. So I do want to remind everybody that it has just begun. So you can kind of breathe. Wait lists are getting full, but the programs are looking at all of this. So you just do have to give them a little time. Registration is going to go on through January. So we do have lots of time to make changes. And the other thing is that we have a few important deadlines coming up. One, it's going to be the last day of classes is coming faster than we realize. It's going to be December 8th. So get ready for that, because as soon as that happens, finals start between the 10th and the 16th. And then your final grade should be viewable online around the 19th or 20th of December. So that is coming quickly, but you do have enough time if you're having issues with classes to talk to us, talk to your faculty, talk to your program director, so that you can, finish up strong. So basically, I can't talk because it's all about registration. That's all we've been doing for the past week and a half.
Yeah, you see the students all over the second floor of the building,
Yes.
trying to get that registration advice. And don't be dismayed. I mean, our dean and our senior leadership here are very responsive. And when we see very large wait lists, they tend to say, go open up another section of that class. And I think students also have to remember that you have to flex a little bit. You may not get exactly the instructor you want or the time slot that course has been offered in, but we've got great instructors here. Mm-hmm. So, don't consider that to be a negative. Oftentimes the biggest surprises were the instructors I didn't really want to take, and then I took them. I was like, wow, why was I not wanting to take that professor? So Definitely. Kind of keep that in mind.
Can I add one thing to that?
Sure.
Please? So just to let everybody know on our webinar with this is that, yes, those what Dean Powell said and Angela said as well, courses are being monitored for enrollments. I was just in several discussions just this morning alone on that. Many of the departments where we're seeing course enrollments exceeding, we're seeing waitlist growing, and the departments are opening up additional sections on that. So I know a number of students have reached out to me, as well as the program director for our management science and supply chain management program, very nervous about courses that are now at full capacity and on waitlist. So yes, they are doing that for sure.
Yeah, and we had a record enrollment this fall. So of course, demand is up, but we are very, very responsive to that. Norma, I'm not sure if we have any questions from.
We do. We have a couple questions. I'm going to assume that this person might be an international student, because their question is, can we please be allowed to take 2 online courses? And so I think it has to do with the guidance on how many online classes they can take.
So that's a great question. If you are a student who is an F1 student who is going to be graduating in May of 2023, then you will be allowed to take more than 1 online class if you are graduating. If you are not graduating, you are continuing on and not graduating in May 2023, you are limited to 1 online class.
Yeah, and it all depends on how many credit hours you're taking. Are you only taking 9? Then you definitely cannot take more than 1. Are you taking 15 credit hours? I would say contact ISSO to see what your option would be at that point, but don't play with your visa if that is the case. You're here for a reason, take classes here.
Oh, Norm, I think that you are muted.
Mm-hmm. Sorry about that. Rookie mistake. Our next question has to do with the curriculum. This person says that they feel like there's a lack of availability of cybersecurity subjects and faculties in all the semesters. And they were saying, as a cybersecurity is the on-demand field, they would like to request more faculty and the availability of cybersecurity subjects. And so I was hoping maybe you could address that topic.
So that's a great question. Number one, make sure that your program director is aware of that. because the scheduling of classes come out of program directors to area coordinators. Now, I do have a question for Angela. Angela, a student can take a cybersecurity course outside of the school if it is approved. If it is over in the engineering school, is that possible?
It's possible. Of course, they'll have to talk to them to see if that
If
class
they
is
will
even
let them
available.
enroll.
Yes, because computer science can be very strict. JSOM is a lot more lenient with enrollments for classes. Computer science is not. So you can talk to them, and if you are in your specific program, such as ITM, that does have a cybersecurity track, you can talk to Dr. Mark Thewin if he will allow that, or just your program director in general. I don't know if that would happen if you're like in finance, but if you are in something that is in at least the IS area, that may be possible. I know there are not a lot of MIS cybersecurity classes at this point, so it would be good for you to talk to your program director, especially the ITM or the business analytics programs, to see if that can be changed.
Now, I'm going to throw something out there that's going to give Angela the heebie-jeebies a little bit, but as a master's student, you can transfer in 9 credit hours.
Correct.
Only 9, not 12, 9.
Yes.
So we have had students in the past who were doing something really, really unique that was narrow, and they found a university that had those narrow topics, and they ended up they got the courses pre-approved here by their program director. They reviewed them to make sure that the syllabi were going to meet the expectations, and they took those courses at another university and transferred them back. So that can happen, but if you've already transferred hours in, then you only can do 9, but we have had students do that before in very narrow subjects where that particular university was only that subject.
Yes, and it cannot be in your last semester, not your graduating semester, because it has to be processed before you are allowed to graduate. And usually if you were supposed to graduate in spring 2023 and you wanted to take the classes in spring 2023, there would not be enough time for the processing of your graduation, and you would be pushed to summer or fall for graduation. And that may not work if you're an international student who needs OPT or something like that. So take it well before your final semester here at UTD.
Right.
Our next question is from a MS Business Analytics Flex student, and they're saying that they're unable to enroll in the Analytical Practicum course, and they're wondering who they should contact about that.
Go ahead, Angela.
You should contact your program to get permission to take that class, because it does require permission from the department. And then you would forward it to us so that we can enroll you. I do not believe they have permission numbers for that class at this time. If there's a wait list, we will put you on the wait list. If there is not a wait list and it's open, we will enroll you. But you do have to contact your program director to make sure that you are giving written permission to take that class.
And that's Gaurav Shekhar.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, those are... Oh, I've got another one in here that just came in. This has to do with TA teaching assistantships. A lot of my classmates, including myself, meet the requirements of scholarship and TA eligibility, but they were not selected for either. And I guess they're wondering, it sounds like they're wondering about how the decision process is made and what else do they need to do in order to be considered for the scholarship or be selected for a TA.
So David, do you want to take that?
I did the same thing Norma did again. Sorry. Yeah, I'm happy to take that. I can talk about the TA because for a number of years I was doing the TA identification selection for OM. On the TA side for this question, each department is going to base its individual TA needs off of the courses and the enrollments that they're going to have. Once that's being done, they'll assign a certain set of numbers of how many TAs they need by department. The other thing to keep in mind too for the person who's asking this question is that TA shifts are extremely competitive here at JSOM. Your typical grade point cutoff average is around 3.75, 3.8. So you've got to have a very strong GPA. Additionally, there are courses that are going to need TA support for faculty members that require you to have at least earned an A or A equivalent, like an A- in that course. So those is kind of the criteria that surrounds being selected for a TA-ship. So they are very competitive. The other thing is that oftentimes I see people who are applying for TA-ship and they only focus in on one department. They focus in on BUON or ITM or supply chain or OM, operations management. Be aware that when you fill out that application, you're going to be submitting it for any department that's here at JSOM. So that's the TA side. On the scholarship side, absolutely, again, and I think Dean Powell can echo it, extremely competitive, very high GPAs, at least for the ones that I have personally seen. I've seen 3.8, 3.9 as being the award recipients or rejected recipients. You have to have a very competitive GMAT and or GRE score as well to be considered for those. So that's my 2 cents on it.
So let me jump in and add a little bit more color to David's answer about TARA. It is the position of the area or the department to pick the best qualified candidate to be a TA or an RA. And that means that you might have somebody that has a 3.5, but that person worked 8 years doing exactly what the course that they will TA teaches. So they're going to look, regardless of GPA, for the best qualified person. Sometimes people think that it only goes to the students with a 4.0. They're looking at everything. They're looking at their resume, their background, their performance in X class, like David said. A particular grade in A class may be very important if they are being a TA for that class. So there's a lot of factors that go in. So it is very competitive, but the area is going to pick the best qualified student. So that means that they might have 2 people that are 4.0s. They might have 5 people that are 3.75s. They may have 1 person that's a 3.45 because they've got, 10 years of work experience in a particular area. So again, it's just like applying for a job. They're looking for the best candidate for that position. With regard to scholarships, if you are, and there aren't any new incoming students that are probably watching that, but GMAT GRE is a requirement for an incoming new student. But when we start looking to award scholarships for fall of next year, because we only award them going into the fall, we look at the criteria of that donor scholarship. Sometimes a donor award says it has to be an MS marketing student or a supply chain student. They can't be less than or 3.5. They had to have had a leadership position. We have to fulfill these specific requirements of that donor scholarship in identifying the best candidate. But we also have a Dean's Excellence, which is based around academic performance. So again, that's going to go to very high achieving students who've completed X number of hours or more. And the other thing that I just wanted to throw out is we really try very hard to benefit as many students as we can. So we don't want to give a TA-ship to a student who is also getting a paid internship that semester, because that's, that student is probably making a really good internship wage and we could help benefit another student. So I've had a few students reach out to me who are upset. Why can't I do an internship and a TA-ship at the same time? Well, that's the reason. Same thing on scholarships and TA-ships. We try to spread the wealth there where we're benefiting as many students as we possibly can. And we're doing that for the betterment of more students instead of everything going to the same students. So I'm just going to kind of throw that in there as a little bit of extra information.
While we're talking about TA-ships, this question is related. It is asking, when will the results for the spring 2023 TA applications be released?
David, I don't know the answer to that.
I can take that. Yes, I can. Yeah, so the TA applications are open as of right now for spring of 23. They will close as of Friday the 18th. At that point, I can tell you that the departments are now doing their evaluations of the potential applicant pool. They're doing their scheduling needs, as Angela was talking about, the growing enrollments for spring 23. We're watching those as well. Based on the department, typically all of the TA selections will be done as we go into the week of the holiday break in December timeframe. You'll be notified of that. You're going to be notified also or ask about your availability rate. So that all is happening right now. Personally, I'm going to be sitting down with the OM department, and we're going to be doing our initial selections here as of Friday. So all the departments are doing the exact same thing. But if you're interested in being a TA and you've been holding off putting in the application, please keep in mind it closes on Friday. So get your application in. We're starting to look at that pool right now.
Perfect.
Coming
Thank you.
fast. End of year comes so fast.
I'm going to go ahead and put Angela on the screen because I think this one might be for her. Angela, this person has taken 4 courses or is registered in 4 courses, one of which is online. Their 5th course that they want to take is on a wait list, and they plan to drop one of the courses that they're enrolled in if they're able to get in the waitlist course. But they are receiving an email that says that they're exceeding the credit limit and they can't move forward on the waitlist. So I was hoping that you could explain that because there might be other people that are having the same issue.
Yes. So the issue is that there is a credit limit at this point. JSOM has essentially had this credit limit for a number of years now. So at the beginning of the semester registration period, JSOM students, grad students, are limited to 13 credit hours for a certain period of time for fall and spring. And then summer, it's a 10 credit hour limit. After a certain date, that limit is released and students can enroll up to 18 credit hours per semester. This semester, that date is December 9th. So until December 9th, on or after that date, you will not be enrolled in your 5th class. So the message that you are receiving is from the wait list saying, I can't enroll you essentially because there is a limit now. You can just stay there if you would like and wait until later, but there's no guarantee that you're going to get into that waitlisted class at this point because the limit will not be released until the 9th. And this is actually online. We have a policy page that I'm going to put into the chat so that everyone can see it. You can go there to review JSOM policies for change of programs, change of catalogs, academic probation, registration limits. It's all there online for you guys to see, both undergrad and graduate. So I would review that and wait until on or after December 9th to enroll in additional coursework.
And let me just jump in, Norma, for just a moment to explain why we do that. The reason that we limit registration to 13 hours is because historically our continuing students, they would gobble up all of the courses and hold on to them until the end of the first week of class and then drop them. And that meant that all of the students that were behind them were blocked out until almost right before drop ad ended. So the reason we do this is to give everybody a better opportunity to enroll in a set of courses. And then everybody has fair game during drop ad equally. So it has been a great policy for us because many years ago when we didn't do that, what would happen is that all the space would get taken up by the students who were closer to graduation, and the newer students wouldn't have courses to enroll in until the very last minute, and it just didn't work well. So we adopted that policy, and now we have a whole bunch of happy campers. So there is logic behind that that policy.
Thank you. I don't have any new questions at the moment.
Well, I want to thank you guys for joining us and coming to this chat today. And I just want to remind everybody to really enjoy that Thanksgiving holiday, that breakaway next week when we have fall break. I hope that you're not waiting until the last minute to get all of your course assignments done. And so you have to work like a beast over the holiday. I hope that you can step back and whomever you are with, make family with them so that you can have a terrific Thanksgiving. If you are separated from your family, then get on WhatsApp or get on, Facebook and your iPhone, and be sure to tell your folks and your family how grateful you are that they've given you the life that you have. And we hope to see everybody back after the holiday and get ready for finals because here they come, and 2024 is right around the corner. So thank you, David. Thank you, Angela. Thank you, Norma. We look forward to having you guys back here next month.